The rainbow used to have just 5 colors, until 1704 when Sir Isaac Newton added orange and indigo to the list simply because he had a fondness for the supposedly mystical properties of the number 7. In fact, there are no pure colors in a rainbow, they all blend into one continuous spectrum, but ever since Newton we've settled on 7 and used little rhymes to remember them. Americans favor Roy G. Biv, while British children might learn Richard York gave battle in vain. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. Attentive children might therefore be perplexed by the song, I Can Sing a Rainbow, which begins, red and yellow and pink and green, purple and orange and blue, so it would seem that the colors of the rainbow can differ, and when we dip into the cultural histories of these colors, we see even wider differences. In short, how we interpret colors, even how we see them, is more a product of nurture than nature. A few color-coded stories then read up a Paleolithic cave painting of a bison painted in the wall of the cave of Altamira, Spain. Dated 11,000 BC. Copyright Universal History Archive OIG via Getty Images. The first color used in art was red from ochre. And the first known example of cave art was a red ochre plaque, which contains symbolic engravings of triangles, diamond shapes and lines, dated to 75,000 years ago. In the same cave Blombos, in the Western Cape of South Africa, there are suggestions of even older art, including a workshop containing carefully blended paint made from red ochre and marrow fat, along with spatulas and shell-mixing dishes. This paint, thought to be used to adorn bodies and perhaps cave walls, has been dated at 100,000 years ago. In almost every country, red seems to have been the first color other than black and white to be named, with its symbolic appeal often drawn from blood, evoking strength, virility, and fertility. Blue feeling calm yet. Copyright Getty Images. The world's favorite color is blue, even though it is relatively new to the party linguistically. The ancient Greeks, Chinese, Japanese and Hebrews did not have a name for blue and thought of it as a version of green. Even today several languages have green-blue blurring, including Korean, Vietnamese, Thai, Kurdish, Zulu and Himba. Yet blue consistently comes first for both men and women in every country where color preference has been surveyed. In one international poll, covering 10 countries from 4 continents, it came out well on top in all of them. One reason is that it seems to have a calming effect. Students given IQ tests with blue covers had an edge of a few points over those given tests with red covers, perhaps because of the natural connotations of blue: seas, lakes, rivers, skies. Yellow. Tony Orlando Dawn tie yellow ribbon round the ole oak tree. TOTP 1973. This most contrary of colors has long been associated with cowardice. Yellowish bile was thought to make you peevish, and ever since the 8th century it was the color of anti-Semitism. The Caliph in Medina ordered Jews and Christians to wear yellow badges because it was the color of non-believers, and it spread, via Edward I, yellow patches for Jews, all to Nazi Germany's yellow stars. But it is also the color of defiance in the form of the yellow ribbon, which started with the women's suffrage movement in Kansas in 1867. They chose yellow because the sunflower was the state flower. The 1973 Tony Orlando and Dawn song, Tie Yellow Ribbon Round the Ole Oak Tree, gave the defiant version of the yellow ribbon an unexpected revival boost. It was later used in protests in the Philippines, Hong Kong and South Africa. Green. Do not drink. Copyright Getty Images. The usual associations of green relate to the natural world, but it has also picked up some more malign connotations, including envy, jealousy, inexperience, illness and poison, at least in comic book bottles. This last meaning came from the pea green pigment called Scheele's green, used in dyes and paints for carpets, fabrics, wallpaper, ballroom gowns and confectionery. Problem was that this dye, invented in 1775, contained high doses of arsenic. It was particularly lethal in wallpaper, releasing tiny particles of arsenic into the air. When Napoleon died in St. Helena in 1821, British were suspected of poisoning him. Later, however, it was discovered that the green wallpaper in his room contained arsenic. This may have hastened his death, but the real cause was bowel cancer and a perforated ulcer. Despite knowledge of its toxicity, it was only in the early 20th century that manufacturers stopped producing Scheele's green. Orange. An orange crate label produced around 1910 in Los Angeles, California. Copyright Transcendental Graphics. Getty Images. The only color in the English language that takes its name from a fruit is orange. It all goes back to China around 4,500 years ago, when oranges were first cultivated and traveled west down the Silk Road. They went to northwest India, where the Sanskrit word for an orange tree, naranja, served as the root for many languages, as oranges were planted and sold, narang in Farsi, nare in Arabic and naranja in Spanish. The English word orange is a corruption of the Sanskrit. People mistook a naranga for an oranga, and so it evolved into an orange. Before the fruit arrived, the English word for the color was giola red, yellow red, but in the 16th century orange took over. In some languages, however, the two are separated. In Afrikaans, for example, the color is oranje but the fruit is lemon, and several languages, including Himba, Nafana and Paraha, have no word for the color. Purple. The bottle on the right is a sample of mauveine acetate dye, probably prepared by William Henry Perkin 18,381,907, around 18,631,864. Copyright SSPL Getty Images. The first color to come in synthetic form was purple. In 1856, William Henry Perkin, an 18-year-old chemistry student, was told to conduct an experiment using coal tar to find a cure for malaria. He failed, but was intrigued with what happened when he dipped a piece of cloth into his mixture of coal, aniline and chromic acid. It came out purple and held its color. He patented the dye he called mauveine and became a rich man after it was mass-produced. Until then, purple had been prohibitively expensive. The ancients needed to crush 12,000 murex sea snails to get 1 gram of Tyrian purple, but the result of Perkin's discovery was the mauve measles, as Punch magazine called the fashion craze. It had a revival in the late 1960s as the color of the counterculture, and is now seen as a feminine alternative to pink. Pink. John Wayne, A Man Not Afraid of a Pink Shirt. Copyright Silver Screen Collection. Getty Images. Years ago, evolutionary psychologists from the University of Newcastle upon Tyne designed an experiment to test whether pink was an innately feminine color and blue a masculine color. It turned out that blue was favored by both sexes, but that pink had more female support. The results were heralded as proving that pink was inherently feminine, but this was thrown into doubt when critics protested that this was a recent development. Earlier in the century, women's magazines regularly advised readers to choose pink for boys' clothes. For example, in 1918 the British Ladies' Home Journal noted the generally accepted rule is pink for the boy and blue for the girl. The reason is that pink, being a more decided, stronger color, is more suitable for the boy. It was only in the 1950s that pink became a decided feminine color, through American advertising campaigns. The Story of Color: An Exploration of the Hidden Messages of the Spectrum by Gavin Evans is available from the 17th of August. £20, Michael O'Mara Books.